This is James Altucher with TheStreet.com TV, and I'm here with the quiet and shy former hedge fund manager, Jim Cramer. We're going to try to get him to open up a little bit today. Jim, there's been a lot of shocking news recently in the newspapers. In particular, Carlos Slim has replaced Warren Buffett as the number 2 richest man in the world. A lot of Buffett guys are really shocked by this.
Until I was reading, one of the things I go to Stock Picker every Sunday night. Until I was reading that he had a portfolio, I hadn't thought that he had a portfolio, but the guy may be. It takes a lot more vision to build the things that he has than to buy Coke or to buy Washington Post. And what's amazing to me is that Carlos Slim is someone who identifies very forward technologies. That's not been Buffett's strategy, and Gates obviously had one technology, so right. He's kind of a much more inventive guy.
Well, it's interesting because most people know him as just completely dominating both wireless and wireline right. in Mexico and South America, but it's interesting to see what he's buying here in the U.S. Quietly, for instance, he's a 10% owner or more of Saks. So
yeah,
what's the story on that?
I happen to think that Saks represents an almost impossible find. This is a company that reinvented itself, that's very difficult to understand. It's been paying dividends back to people. It's recapitalizing. It's kind of doing a private equity deal publicly. And the fact that he had that, I was like thinking, how did he know? How did he know? But, I think that he's a visionary.
Well, with Saks, it's interesting because, like you say, it's hard to find it. Like, it still has a high PE because their margins historically were so low. But now maybe you can look. They have been.
You know how I found it?
Tell me.
I went to a lot of Sakses because I kept hearing good things from my friend Dana Cohen, who runs retail research at Bank of America. She says, why don't you go to one? So I go to a bunch of them, and the sales force has been remotivated. They've changed all the structure of sales, which is something we never think of. But they changed the compensation plan so that the salespeople are off their feet and doing business. It's quite exciting to go to a Saks, and they all own a lot of stock. You really feel it. Now, I don't know if you ever went to a Saks, but boy, it was something that was just there and is still there for the taking. Sadov is a very good manager, the guy that they have. And Ronald Frasch is a great merchandiser.
And I'll note that Sadov is on another portfolio that we have on Stock Picker, which is the Cramer CEO's portfolio. He's one of your favorite
Well, what an
CEOs.
Unlikely guy. He comes from Bristol Myers. But you know what? He is about financially rewarding shareholders in a way that retail companies have, other than Mike Goldman at JCPenney, have not really done, which is returning money to the shareholders.
Well, real quickly, I want to also talk about another stock that it just was revealed Carlos Slim owns 7.3% of the company, Allis-Chalmers, ALY.
Another place where American Industrial, that everyone kind of threw it out. Maybe this is the next John Deere. I don't know who does the stock picking, but that is a down-and-out name. I identified that a long time ago and made money, and it didn't do anything. So maybe it'll do something now that he owns.
Well, and also you've been bullish though on the offshore drillers, and they supply the equipment.
It's like but I was bullish on Dresser-Rand, and that didn't work. So I think this one, when I looked at it, I did Allis-Chalmers. It was actually off of IBD. I wonder if he reads IBD. IBD has a lot of the ideas that he has, but whatever. Allis-Chalmers is cheap.
Well, great. So Carlos Slim coming in at $53 billion on the number 2 list.
Yeah, I love
interesting
it.
guy to watch.
Yep.
Thanks very much. This is James Altucher at TheStreet.com TV.